Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. Thank you so much for being part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. We love to connect with you on social media. Facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Jedley Magic on Twitter, at Reading with Your Kids on Instagram. Our guests today are two of our favorite friends, Nita Clark, Kathy Doherty, talking about Viola's very best bad day. If you're looking to make it a great family day with your kids, be sure to join us at two amazing events happening in the greater Boston area this spring. On March 21st, join us at the East Boston branch of the Boston Public Library, one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. It is a beautiful library, great community, and on March 21st from noon to 3, it's the Reading with Your Kids Day. We're going to have magic shows, a magic workshop, book giveaways, story times, and we have a special parenting workshop presented by the Boston Public Schools Parent University. It's all happening March 21st, noon to 3 at the East Boston branch of the Boston Public Library. And on April 5th, make your way down to Kingston, Massachusetts for the South Shore Kids Expo. It's going to be an amazing time. Lots and lots of great activities for you and your family. Of course, the Reading with Your Kids podcast will be there. We'll be presenting our totally interactive magic show. We'll also have a totally interactive booth where you and your kids can experience what it's like to be a guest on the iHeartRadio Best Kids and Family Podcast Award nominee, the Reading with Your Kids podcast. It's all happening April 5th, Kingston Collection, noon to 3. Joining us on the line right now from Canton in Ohio, two of our favorite guests are back on the show celebrating their brand new book. It's called Viola's Very Best Bad Day. Please welcome back to the show mother and daughter team, Nita Clark and Kathy Doherty. Nita, Kathy, how are you?
Just fine, Jed. How are you?
I am wonderful. That is the voice of Kathy, who is the daughter in this tandem. And Nita, how are you?
I'm just doing great. Looking forward to this interview and looking forward to a lot more to come.
There you go. Now, if you could, Kathy, explain the process of how you folks create together.
Well, Mom is the ideas person. She comes up with her ideas and she starts with them, and I just follow along and add to it with my talents of the illustrations and correcting her grammar because she can't see what she's typing.
That's right. Yeah, Nita is legally blind. I know her vision. She's visually impaired.
Visually impaired. I walk around with like a bullseye in front of my eye. I have no center vision.
Okay.
I see the outer rings, but I can't see the bullseye.
Okay. And I understand that you have this giant kind of monitor that you use when you're typing.
Exactly. A large flat screen TV, and I zoom our text up to 225, and with a little bit of movement in my head, I can see enough. And knowing where the keys are, I can do enough to type the things up. And then Kathy edits and makes any space corrections or commas or spelling. And believe me, spell check has left us with some real good things to chuckle about.
Well, yes, that autocorrect is, it can be very frustrating sometimes, a little embarrassing sometimes too.
Exactly. I had just posted on one of the readers groups or writers groups that self-published, and they come out self-punished.
Well, there might be some self-published authors out there who would say that the process is
exactly
punishing. Yes. You know, I was thinking of you two about a week ago when I was at a kids' expo, and there's so much I want to talk to you about. But I met a young girl. She was probably 11 or 12 years old, and she was there with her family and mom, dad, and two I think it was 2 or 3 sisters. I'm not sure. But anyways, and she was very outgoing, and I said, hey, and we interviewed her. I said, how are you? And you guys read every night together. And, the girl said, well, my mom reads to my young brother and my 2 sisters every night. And I said, oh, and, what about you? Do you remember reading with her? Oh, yeah, I do. She read to me now. And I said, do you read a lot yourself? And she goes, no, I hate to read. I said, really? Wow. And we had a good discussion after the interview. And it turns out that she doesn't hate to read. She hates to read she's hate being told what to read. So we talked a little bit about that. But during the interview, I said to her, I said, what do you like to do? And she likes to do this thing on her phone called TikTok, which is this weird app. She explained it to me. I don't get it. Anyway.
But I've heard some bad things about TikTok. I don't know if they're true or not, but.
Yeah, the Chinese and spying and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, I asked her, I said, do you do this TikTok thing with your mom? And she said, yeah, I do. And, I explained to her, I goes, that kind of started when you guys read together. You read together, you enjoyed that time together, and then it grows. And I thought of you two because it's like, here they are, here's this girl who's 10 or 11 years old, who's kind of moved on from reading picture books together with her mom to now she's making TikTok videos with her mom. And you two have spent all this lifetime together, and here you are, and you just in the last few years discovered writing and creating books together.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and what a wonderful, wonderful thing to have that relationship that begins with our kids when they're helpless and they're little babies and they're sitting on our laps and they're pointing to pictures and we're asking them about what they see and what they think, and that grows and it lasts a lifetime and it evolves, and that's just such a beautiful thing.
It is. You never know what's going to come of it as you start.
And
it's such togetherness.
To me, it's just such a nice thing to be able to leave such a legacy to my grandkids, my great-grandkids, and my great-great-grandkids someday. They can pick up the book and see that we worked on it together and how family can help each other and support each other and do interesting things.
Now, I wasn't going to mention how long you guys have been doing these things together, but Nita, you just celebrated, I've read on social media, you just celebrated an amazing milestone. Do you want to tell us what kind of anniversary you just had?
Years, 60. My husband and I have been married 65 years. Well, I married very young, and I turned 82 last summer. So, it's been quite a few milestones this year.
65 years married. That is incredible. Congratulations.
And our little granddaughter Lana refers to him as my honey. Your honey needs you, Grandma. Your honey needs you.
Well, that's, boy, oh boy, you talk to, there are some people out there who think, oh, it's, this institution, it's antiquated, and you hear about, especially you hear about celebrities who stay married. They can't stay married for 6 months, never mind 65 months or 65 years. And then you look at you and your honey, and you have this incredible lifetime together. Talk just a little bit about what a blessing it is to be able to share your life with somebody for that long.
Well, it's wonderful to know that you have somebody that's always going to be there for you, always going to watch out for you, that loves you no matter what, and will make sure that your life is as good as it can possibly be.
That's beautiful. And Kathy, for you, what's that like, being able to help your parents celebrate those 65 years together?
To me, it's just amazing that anyone can stay with somebody 65 years without losing too much patience with them. But they have a lot of patience with each other, which is something that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah. Well, you two both had a lot of patience with me. We've been talking now for almost 8 minutes, and I haven't even asked Nita to tell us about the brand new book, Viola's Very Best Bad Day. Nita, can you tell us about this new story?
Well, Viola, I love the name. I was looking for a name that in my book the dad kind of teased the little girl a little bit because that's what my husband does. He teases. And my son, one son in Montana, he teases his little granddaughter or his little daughter. And, I wanted a name that I could build on that. And I had thought about Amanda Lynn, Amanda Lynn. And then it dawned on me that my grandmother's name was Viola. And if I would have named one of my girls Viola and give her the middle name Lynn, I would have had a violin. So in the book, the dad does what he calls his thing. He sings to his little girl, violin, violin. Even her name is more lovely than the finest Stradivarius violin.
Wow.
And I love that character. I love the character of the little boy that she meets. She's having this very bad day because her friend Rosalie has moved away. And Rosalie is the name of my favorite cousin. And I wanted to kind of honor her in my book. So I gave the little girl, her little friend that moves away, the name Rosalie. And then the little boy that she meets that really makes a big difference in her life. He has a lot of kibbutz. He comes in, he's don't want to wait till the next year to start school. He wants to, get that behind him. And it's the last week of school when he moves into the house that Rosalie moves away from. And he comes into school and he puts on a skit. And his nickname is Curly. And then he tells when he's doing his skit, he asked if they would laugh if he told them his last name was Fry, meaning making him a curly fry.
Uh-huh.
He just got so much character. I love him. I love all the characters in the book. Like I said, it's based on her having a real bad day because she finds out that Rosalie's moved away. Her summer plans have all fallen apart because of some money problems that her parents are having. And she's really, really, really having a bad day. And then she finds out that it wasn't such a bad day after all because she meets Curly Fry and they become instant friends and they solve the problem, their money problem with her parents. And Rosalie did move so far away that, she can't come back and visit. So it turns out that yes, bad things happen, but there's a lot of good things that can come in and take its place.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we have a spoiler alert at the end that when everybody reads it, they just love it. And in the book, we have a situation in the classroom, and I wanted the teachers, the little boy's talking to the teacher, and I decided that, I had to give that teacher a name. So I actually chose the name Mrs. G because that is my great-granddaughter Lily's favorite teacher, her second grade teacher, that Lily goes back and reads to the classroom at all of our books. And Mrs. G, when she finds out last week, or about 2 weeks ago now, Lily went to the classroom and read the book to the class. And when Mrs. G finds out she's in the book, her reaction is priceless.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
So, it's just, to me, there's a lot of lessons in the book.
Uh-huh.
Little Viola decides that she wants to know who this Mr. Budget is that her mom talks about all the time. He's the one that always keeps telling them no, they can't go to Seattle. Dad can't buy a new saddle because Mr. Budget's cranky. Doesn't understand why she's never seen this mean old man.
Mm.
So there's a lot of lessons in the book, but it's just, I have so much fun writing.
I really marvel at the energy that you have and all these great life lessons that you're sharing. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, we talked a little bit earlier about, this young girl that I met in Chicago who had this app on her phone. And, I couldn't imagine when I was in elementary school that one day we'd be walking around with these things in our pockets that would allow us to talk with the world and make videos and, I do all these things that I needed 6 or 7 different machines to do, and it would take me weeks to learn how to use each one of the machines, and they were very, very difficult. You've seen even more advances in technology and changes, but it sounds like through your books that human nature and relationships haven't really changed all that much.
No, they haven't. Times have changed. Your access to information has changed. I started the school in a one-room schoolhouse with 8 grades. So, there's been, a lot of changes, but people are still the same. People still want to be loved. They want to be respected. They want to be treated with dignity. And, we need to teach that to our children that, those are the most important things in life. It's not the money. It's not fame. It's not fortune. It's just knowing how to deal with other people and just create happiness and feel good about yourself. And in the book, like I said, there's so many lessons. Curly just doesn't understand that if her parents are having problems, why don't they go to the magic money machine? Because Mom does it all the time. All she has to do is push some buttons, say abracadabra, and the money comes right out in her hand. That's a lesson we need to teach our kids. No, that's just not that easy. Wow. It doesn't work that way. And you just can't get whatever you want. So, it's, there's a lot of changes. I could have never imagined being able to go to a machine and push some buttons and get money, whether you had money in your account or not. Mm-hmm. Because, you can imagine going from a one-room schoolhouse till today. I have seen a lot of changes. Most of them for the good. Yeah. But still, we have to have those old-fashioned values of respect and appreciating authority and treating each other with that kind of kindness that you expect for yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. And it is. It's real important that we share that with our kids. And there's so many lessons, from that whole idea. Who would have thought as you were talking about, who would have thought that you could go up to a machine and press a couple of buttons and have money spit out? I mean, when I was a kid, if you didn't get to the bank between 9 and 3, you weren't getting any money. And everybody worked during those hours. So now I don't know how it worked.
If any of the kids read the books and chuckle, but if they learn a little lesson that'll come in handy for them down the road, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
And I've accomplished everything I set out to do.
Kathy, there's one thing I want to talk a little bit about, but I'm wondering, Kathy, as you're editing your mom's books and as you're creating illustrations for the books, are there anything in the stories that surprise you?
From time to time. Right now, we're working on the next Secrets of Zen Castle book, and the directions that the story takes. When I come back, I read what she has today, and then I'll come back over Wednesday, and where she has taken it is completely a different direction than what I was expecting, and that always surprises me. So she keeps me pretty well surprised almost every day. So she does. And when we were doing Curly Fry, he was a fun character to draw because Curly Fry actually refers to his red curly hair.
So cool.
He is quite a character. I love him.
And his real name is Ignatius.
Well, there is a great name.
Yes. Ignatius Farley.
Ignatius Farley. That's, yes. Well,
I'm so old, they just grow wheat and barley.
Well, I love the name. I'm Jesuitly, I went to a Jesuit high school, so the name Ignatius resonates with me. I love it a whole lot. Now, Kathy, you were talking about your mom surprising you. I was surprised when before we started recording today, that you folks just entered your first song contest.
Yes, we did. I just right before you called, I just finished up the entry at 12:27 is when I sent it in.
Well, Nita, you got to tell me a little bit about this song contest and what the new song's about.
Well, on my Facebook, it popped up somebody had a songwriting contest. And I laughed and I said, well, that's something I haven't done. And Kathy's kids were all sick. The house was sick all week. And so I had some extra time on my hands. And I happened to think about it. And above my desk, I have two big signs. One says I'm going to do it a little bit better today to remind me that no matter what problem I'm facing, if I just do it a little bit better today, I'll eventually get it done. And the other one says, it's not my circus, it's not my clowns. To remind me that I don't have to solve everybody's problems. Because that was always one of my biggest failings. I just thought I had to make everybody's life better. And so using those two, I sat here and I thought about it. And I used those two things. Well, especially, I'm going to do it a little bit better today to write a song.
And how was the process? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I did. It was fun. And we happened to have company over the weekend. And two of the young ladies work with troubled people. And they read the lyrics, and they think it would be awesome to use in their jobs as counselors for these troubled kids.
Wow. Can you share a lyric? I know it's part of a contest, so you might not be able to.
I can't, it's hard for me to read unless it's zoomed up on but Kathy can do it.
Kathy, you ready to make your singing debut here?
No, I'll read it.
Okay.
Your listeners don't deserve to be punished that
way.
But I will read the first part through at least the chorus.
Okay.
Before I started my day, I looked in the mirror and I had this to say. I don't like the way that I'm living. I need to do better with this life I was given. I have found my way. I'm going to do it a little bit better today. There was a lot of things in my life that have gone wrong. I'm accepting the blame, and that is exactly where it belongs. I don't like the way that I'm living. I need to do better with this life I was given. I have found my way. I'm going to do it a little bit better today. The problems of others have been keeping me down, but I don't own that circus, and I don't owe their clowns. Here, there's a lot of hurt deep inside that causes a lot of pain that I must hide. It is all there, but no one can see, and no one can make it better but me. And that's the first part of it.
Go to the next line.
Okay. I don't like the way that I am living. I need to do better with this life I was given. I have found my way. I'm going to do it a little bit better today. No one starts the race as a winner. Everyone starts out as a beginner. I have had some bad habits I need to end, and a broken heart I need to mend. There's a lot of things I want to do better, and they don't need to be perfect nor done to the letter. There you go. That's more than half of it.
Well,
read the last part. At the very end, it goes, because there's a lot more that, I'm standing, I have some problems, but they're not that large. I'm standing up. I'm taking charge. I'm making decisions on my own terms. Doing better choosing better from the lessons I've learned. To get this far down, it took some time. Others can rule their lives, but they can't rule mine. Life flies by in what seems like a few minutes. It would be sad if I didn't find happiness while I was in it. And go ahead and read the last part.
And then from there it goes, if I keep doing a little better each day, it will not be long until I can look in the mirror and say, I love the way that I am living. I'm doing much more with this life I was given. I have found my way, and it all started with doing a little better today.
That is,
And she did it from memory.
and I mean, that is fun, but
There's
it's
parts in there too that we skipped over, but that's the basis of it.
well, it's incredible that you know it's filled with really profound wisdom. At one time it was kind of common sense and wisdom that was out there and something that we all shared together. You know, I'm imagining as you are hearing these kind of things, talking about taking responsibility for my own mistakes. I'm like, wow, that's going to trigger an awful lot of people who might hear that, you know, thinking, because it just seems like we're not, a lot of people today don't want to accept responsibility. They want to sit back and say, the world is really nasty and I've been given a bad break and it's okay for me to feel lousy and,
It's never my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, no matter what kind of life you've had, it's your choice.
Absolutely.
It's
Now,
your choice. You can make it good or you can make it bad.
Now,
I remember telling my kids when they got about 13, you know what kind of life I want for you, but I can't go with you and I can't make your choices. So it's up to you what kind of life you're going to have. As much as I like to make sure that it was perfect, I can't do it because I can't keep you home. I can't keep you from going out into the world and experiencing other things, but it's on your shoulders.
Yeah.
It is your choice.
Now, I just love it, and I'm envisioning right now, Kathy, see if you can get behind this. I'm envisioning Nita kind of doing this, getting a good, you know, rap beat to it, and just kind of getting out there, you know, with big gold chain on, and you know, just kind of really getting into it. I don't know, am I being silly here?
That would be something I know her grandkids would love to see.
There you
and
go.
Her great grands would crack up on. And maybe do a TikTok.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, that's if the
like I said, it was a challenge I hadn't had. You know, then why not? You know, the answer is always no if you never try. So
there you go.
Just put in and we'll see what happens. And if it doesn't go anywhere, at least it's like I had posted on that one writers group the other day. You know, these writers are picking on themselves, and I told them how they could get 5 stars. Number one, how many people do you know that says I want to write a book? Well, give yourself a star because you just did.
Yes.
And if you actually had that book printed, give yourself another star.
Mm-hmm.
Because you did something that nobody, all these people that want to write a book, they've never done. You did.
Right.
All the way up to they got 5 stars. Because if you never try, you never know what you can do. And like I said, I was almost 80 when I started. I've only been doing this 3 years. But it's just been a whole lot of fun. It's good for my mind. It keeps me positive. It keeps me from worrying about my eyesight because I've worked around it.
Sure.
And, other health issues and I'm now battery operated. I have a pacemaker. Life is good. Life is good. You have bad things happen and you can let those bad things rule your life, or you can pick out the good things and let that guide your way, and you're going to be much better off if that's the way you do it.
Absolutely. As you were talking throughout the conversation, one of my past guests, Phil Joel, who wrote Redwoods in Wales, one of the things that he said, one of the reasons he wrote that book was that there's so many people who stop living when they're 20 or 25, and then they don't get around to dying until like they're 70. But they've gone this huge stretch of time without living. And you are somebody, I know that Phil is a friend of mine. I know that Phil will love you because you've lived every moment of your 82 years.
Well, years ago, we belonged to this community group, and I had some paperwork I had to take to different members, and I knocked at this one elderly lady's house, and I knew she was home, but she didn't answer. And I knocked again, and then I heard something in the backyard. And I walked around the house, and there she was. She had bought a bag of ready-mix cement, and she was making herself a set of steps. She needed her steps repaired. She had asked everybody to come and repair them, and nobody did. So she went and bought the stuff, she was a widow, got her husband's old wheelbarrow out, and she was mixing up that wheelbarrow full of cement. And she had a form made there, and she was going to build herself a set of steps. And I thought, now, when I get old, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to see something, and so what? She told me she figured she made a cake. She didn't figure it would be any harder than icing a cake.
Just a little heavier, that's all.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, now that's what I want to be. When I get old, I want to be that. And I've heard stories of my grandmother that my grandpa in the wintertime or in the summertime would leave and go and work in the sawmills and sharpen their saws, and he was supposed to be able to hew a beam straighter and easier than anybody around, and he was always in demand. So he'd be gone all summer, and she was usually pregnant because she had 9 kids. And the one year he left, she didn't like her kitchen. So she got busy, and with the help of the kids, and most of them were girls, she built herself a new kitchen while it was gone. Wow.
Incredible.
And this is the DNA that I have in my body. And I look back and I think of all these wonderful things that they have done, and none of the things I've done compares to what they've accomplished.
Well,
so, you just gotta look for some inspiration and hang on to it, and there's plenty of it out there if you just look around.
Well, we're so happy that we're able to share a lot of the inspiration that you bring into the world with the world. And, Kathy, just remind everybody of the website where we can find more of your wonderful books.
Well, all of our books are available through most online retailers, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and such. And then, of course, we have our website, aneatreadpublishing.biz or .com, either one. And we have the Royal Search for Shenanigan is also on Audible, and here soon, so will Viola be available on Audible.
That's wonderful. Well, we've had such a wonderful, wonderful time speaking to 2 of our favorite guests, Kathy Doherty, Nita Marie Clark, the author of the author and illustrators of the brand new book, Viola's Very Best Bad Day. Nita, Kathy, thanks so much for being back on the show.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure. We enjoy talking with you every time, Jed.
Yes, we enjoy it, and if it wasn't for interviews, call us anytime. We love to chat.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Nadine Harouni. She'll be here talking to us about her wonderful picture book series that addresses some really, really important topics. That's the next edition of the podcast. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so very wonderful. Of course, we want to thank our guests, Nita Clark, Kathy Doherty. Be sure to check out Viola's Very Best Bad Day. I also want to thank my amazing team. I want to thank my producer, Fatima Khan, for all she does for the show. I want to thank my amazing account executive, Peggy Cotto. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. I want to thank Augie the doggy for having my back here in the studio. But most of all, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place. And you do that every time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.